Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this past week there was a lot of news about the upcoming iPhone 15 that we're expecting later this year, iOS 17, Apple's AR/VR headset, MacBook, and more. This is your news update for the week of January 9th, 2023. Now, the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max camera issues are finally getting some recognition. A few weeks ago, over the past few videos, I've talked about how some of the post-processing of the photos isn't really that great. Marques Brownlee recently did a video saying the same thing, so it looks like it's getting some attention, and hopefully Apple finally fixes that. For those of you that are unaware of what the actual issue is when you're in the camera and you take a photo, it doesn't look the same as what you have here. So you snap a photo, you go into that photo, and it's often either darker or just processed a little odd. I don't know if they've changed something in the software or not, but hopefully they actually fix that very soon. And also, if you're trying to get your hands on an iPhone 14 Pro or 14 Pro Max, it looks like the delays are gone. If we go into the Apple Store app, and as you can see with the iPhone 14 Pro Max 256GB Deep Purple model, you'll see it says it's unavailable at my local store, but it does ship within 1 business day. So it's available. It may be available in stores depending on the configuration and colors, but it looks like all of the delays are finally gone. Now, the Qi wireless charging standard is something we've had for a long time. Started with Android, or at least on phones, and then eventually Apple gained that and then switched over to MagSafe. It looks like now Qi Wireless Standard 2, or Qi 2, is going to adopt MagSafe alignment magnets. So much like we have with iPhone, where it aligns to the back and locks in place, it looks like they're going to adopt the exact same sort of setup where it would align this, adding for better overall efficiency and better charging. So that should hopefully work on Android very soon. So if you wanted to switch or maybe just have an Android phone around, you could wirelessly charge it with a MagSafe adapter, hopefully in the future. Now, if you're someone that regularly uses Apple Books, Apple is going to be adding digital narration. Actually, the option's now available for different publishers, and the narration is AI generated and allows publishers to opt in to the feature. Apple actually launched a website showing how this works and what it sounds like, and you'll see it says every book deserves to be heard. I'll link this in the description, but if you scroll down through here, you can hear what it sounds like. So they give different examples of the overall book, and here, take a listen.
I looked up to find a wall of trees had materialized ahead of us.
And the sounds are quite good. The voices overall, you would think were actual people talking, and I listened to a bunch of them. Madison, Jackson, it says a digital voice, Helena, Mitchell, and there's probably more to actually choose from. So if you're publishing a book with Apple Books for Authors, you can now turn the option on to have digital narration, so you'll no longer need a voice actor for that. Of course, there's benefits to voice actors on top of that as well. Now, Apple last week announced that starting today, January 9th, there would be a new update for Apple Fitness Plus, and you can see that here. That new update includes things such as kickboxing working types, a brand new sleep theme for meditations, a Beyonce artist spotlight, new time to walk guests, and 3 new trainers. That should be available today and has all of those features there. So if you wanted kickboxing, while we've had that on the watch for a little while as a workout, there'll be some new workouts with that here as well. So in the Fitness Plus app, if you're subscribed to it, you should see those with time to walk and more. I've actually been using time to walk. I really like it. You can see Beyonce there. And here's what's new with Artist Spotlight and more. With Time to Walk, Jamie Lee Curtis. We also have a couple more here as well. So it's really great that we have those, and let me know if you use those. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Apple launched a new map feature today where if you're using Apple Maps and maybe you need to find parking, search for a specific location and tap on More, you'll actually see the option for parking. Now, this doesn't work everywhere, but it seems to work in different areas where we have the updated maps. If we tap on parking, you can see here it loads spothero.com where it says book parking at Madison Square Gardens that I have selected here, and then you can select when you want to park and when you want to exit. So it gives all the information nearby. Like I said, it doesn't work in all cities or all locations. I wasn't able to find any nearby where I live, but in major cities, you should start seeing that. So that's a great little update. Apple has said that its first quarter earnings will be reported on February 2nd. So those earnings will be reported then. We'll hear more about that and what they actually did as far as sales overall, despite maybe the production limitations of the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. So lots going on this year as far as new products and more, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But one of the things we're all waiting for is iOS. So iOS 16.2.1 to fix a bunch of issues, hopefully issues with the camera and much more. but we don't have any guarantee of that. But we could see that as soon as maybe either today or tomorrow. And also we're expecting iOS 16.3 beta 2 as well this week. So finally, Apple should be back from vacation. They're working on software. They're releasing things with Apple Fitness Plus, and we should see iOS 16.2.1 hopefully, or maybe they'll push it to iOS 16.3. But I don't really think they'll do that. Either way, we'll see a couple releases this week if they decide to put out a public release, plus betas as well. Now, the next version, iOS 17, is said to be a smaller update than last year. iOS 16 has over 400 changes, features, and updates, and iOS 17 is said to be smaller as Apple shifts their focus to the new AR/VR headset, according to Mark Gurman. iOS 17 is codenamed Dawn, according to Mark Gurman, and macOS 14 will be a smaller update than Ventura as well, and has the codename of Sunburst. So those are expected to be much smaller updates this year, and hopefully Apple really focuses on stability. I asked a bunch of you what you would like to see, features or stability, in a survey or a poll on Twitter, and as you can see here, I said, what do you want most from iOS 17? 54% of you said features, 46% of you said stability out of 8,465 votes. So out of all those votes, more people still want different features such as split view and more, as I talked about in previous videos this past week or so. And hopefully we'll see some additional features, but I think this will be more stability focused, maybe another iOS 12 sort of stability update or something else. Now, before we talk about the latest Apple rumors and leaks, I wanted to mention a couple discounts. AirPods Pro 2 seem to be on perpetual discount, where they're at least a little bit of money off. They're not as cheap as what they were before Christmas. I'll link that in the description. Also, the iPad mini 6th generation seems to be at an all-time low. So I'll put that in the description as well. It's being sold on Amazon directly by Apple for about $3.99. There's other discounts as well. I'll link them in the description, and they are affiliate links, so I will get a little bit of money if you choose to buy them that way. But if you don't want to, you can search for them directly on Amazon. Also, as far as this wallpaper goes, I'll link it in the description, and it's a wallpaper pack with a bunch of different variants of this wallpaper. So that will be linked there as well. It's free of charge, and you can donate if you'd like to. So be sure to check that out if you're interested. Now, as far as the latest rumors and leaks, according to Mark Gurman this year, Apple is not planning major releases or updates for many different things, such as the Apple Watch, iPads, Apple TV, or major updates to AirPods. Maybe just spec bumps for most of those things. Instead, Apple is said to focus on the VR/AR headset, and it's expected to be shown in the spring this year before WWDC. Also, a new AR feature is coming soon to Apple stores and is almost ready, according to Gurman. The AR feature would activate when you enter an Apple store, and you could use your camera to look around the store and actually get more information about what you're seeing. So that's something that could be ready fairly soon that Apple's been working on for a couple of years at this point. Now, there's more to talk about, but first I wanted to mention the iPhone SE 4th generation. It looks like the 4th generation SE is canceled or delayed until later, according to Ming-Chi Kuo. Apple has apparently planned to use its own modem inside instead of the current Qualcomm models, but instead this year is going to use Qualcomm. So it's not quite ready, and maybe the iPhone SE 4th generation will launch in 2024 or be canceled altogether, depending on sales. So I'm curious if they're actually going to ever release this. Maybe they will, but it will look similar to the iPhone XR, supposedly. Hopefully it has dual cameras like the 11, but either way it's said to be very similar to the iPhone XR, but have USB-C instead. As far as the upcoming iPhone 15, well, it looks like we're already in early production. So iPhone 15 is expected in September as usual, but the final designs are very early in the year, and the first test runs are actually going on right now, where they get the machines ready, get things ready to actually work on production, work out the bugs, and then final production will begin in a few months from now to get millions ready for later this year. All 4 models this year will have the dynamic island, according to Mark Gurman, and also they will all have USB-C to meet the latest standards in Europe, which makes sense since most of their devices are already USB-C anyway. The 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max will feature a titanium frame, have haptic buttons on the side, which are no longer just physical buttons. You press on them, similar to what we had with the home button of the iPhone 7. It feels as though you're pressing a button, and 2 Taptic engines provide that realistic feedback. So the iPhone 15 is expected in September, and hopefully we'll see more about that before then. But either way, I expect it by then with some camera updates and more. Apple is planning to release a larger 15-inch MacBook Air this year as expected, but the MacBook Pro will likely only get a spec bump with the 14 and 16-inch models. The MacBook Air would just get a little bit larger frame, a bigger battery because of the larger case on the bottom, and then probably similar colors, but just in a larger size overall. Not a whole lot of Mac updates this year, as the 12-inch MacBook that we've mentioned before seems to not be something that Apple's working on this year. One of the most disappointing things for a lot of people is the upcoming Mac Pro is said to have the exact same design as the current Mac Pro. So the same thing that we had since 2019, but with Apple Silicon instead. And that means a similar design, but no upgradable RAM, since the RAM is built directly into the processor with its unified memory architecture. There will be slots for solid-state drives or SSDs and other cards, but nothing specific for RAM, so you won't be able to upgrade that according to the sources. So we can expect a very similar design. That makes sense. Maybe that's why it's been delayed. Apple had a different design and just decided not to do that and see how it goes based on overall demand. Now, the big news this week is the Apple AR/VR headset. The upcoming Reality Pro headset, according to Mark Gurman, as far as the name, is apparently going to be shown off before WWDC this year in the spring. That would give developers time to actually work on it, get different apps ready, and get those ready for the spring. So it would be shown in WWDC with some demo games or apps, and then Apple can show it off to everyone else and launch it later. The launch of the new headset is set for fall, like I said, and also earlier this week, reported by The Information, they stated that the upcoming headset would feature a digital crown, have a waist-mounted battery pack, which I'm not sure I really like that idea, options for headbands, magnetically attachable prescription glasses options, and motors that would automatically adjust for your eyes, so you wouldn't have to manually adjust it. The software would also be backward compatible with iOS apps, but they would run in 2D instead of 3D. So all of those things, we're getting more and more information, and we could see that launch within the next few months as far as seeing it overall, since spring is just a couple months away at this point. So lots of different news about the upcoming iPhone. I think the most exciting thing that Apple's really working on is that AR/VR headset, but I'm really curious to see whether or not it will be a big leap over the Oculus, as that's really nice to use if you've ever used it, but it's not anything I would want to use all day long. So I'm interested to see what Apple has in mind, and it's said to be $2,000 to $3,000. So if it is that expensive, it better have something that's a big leap above what we already have. Either way, let me know what you're most excited about in the comments below, and hopefully we see those iOS updates very, very soon. I'll link the wallpaper again, like I mentioned before, in the description as I always do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.